comfy sweatshirt. Not all who wander are lost. And got my iced coffee here. Feeling as happy as can be to connect with you and to answer a Dear Dawni question. So this question is actually from my Coffee with Dawni listener and, oh yeah, my sister, Clover. And Clover asks, Dear Dawni, where is the balance between doing everything you can towards your dreams and future and letting go and letting God? It was very interesting to read that question when 30 seconds before that, I had been meditating on that exact question. Truly exact question, down to the words that she used. So I took that as a sign that this was the question I needed to answer this week. Now, here's the thing. I actually don't know the answer to this. And what I mean by that is I don't have some profound magic pill that's going to solve this for us. But what I do have is an idea that seems to be slowly playing out in my own life. And so I'm going to share that with you. And then I'm going to I want to instigate a conversation here. I'm not super interested in just doing this show like every morning I'm blah, 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 and you guys are out there just sometimes listening, sometimes not, and we go on with our lives. I'm trying to start conversations between me and you, conversations between you and your children and your partners and your friends and your parents. I really want these concepts to open up our minds and our hearts. So I would love this to be a conversation. And here is my piece of that conversation. I talk a lot about, all right, iced coffee is loud. I'm going to set it down for a minute. I talk a lot on Coffee with Dawni about our master plan. The thing that we're headed towards. And it's not just a thing, it's a life, right? We've talked before about how it's a feeling. So in my case, I'm looking for something, a life that's connected, where I'm making a difference, where I have a very healthy love relationship, where my children and my future grandchildren and my siblings and nieces and nephews are around me as much as possible, where I have those wonderful, deep friendships, deep conversation, where the things I'm engaging with are inspirational and fun, and it's like a feeling. It's a feeling of the life that I want. And every one of you that is watching me right now has something similar to that. You have a life that you're going towards. So in answer to Clover's question, what I want to say is, what if we hold dear the general life that we want, and we can absolutely make it specific and go towards specific goals, all the while keeping our minds and our hearts open, keeping our eyes open, paying attention, observing which direction that life is attempting to lead us in. And so how I've done it so far that seems to be working for me pretty well is, okay, it's kind of like, and for those of you, whatever your concept of God is, if that's the universe, is that your higher self, right? We talk about this too, whatever the God of your understanding. So I'm just going to call it God, and you call it whatever you want in your head. If you want to switch that to universe, go for it. But being open to what God is bringing in, to what life itself is bringing in. Okay, so God, universe, life, I'm going to, right now, I have this move planned. So I'm moving, and this is real for me in my life right now. I'm moving in exactly 2 months. And right now, the plan is that this is where I'm going to move. And I'm open. If there is anything that you want from me that would be better for me, for my family, for those I love, for those around me, a better possibility, then I am open to that possibility. So to me, it is yes, we make plans and yes, we make goals, but we stay open to what shows up. And it does sometimes feel like this dance because we're like, okay, I really want this, and I'm going to also see and observe what keeps coming in my path. So think about times in your life when you thought you knew how it was going to go. And then life said, actually, it's going to go like this. But how it ended up being was so much better than anything you would have planned for yourself. If someone had asked me, 4 years ago, describe to me your soulmate, what I would have said would definitely have been describing Gideon in most ways, but I never would have said somebody 22 years younger than I am. Not in a million years would that ever have crossed my mind, nor would I probably have been very open to that. I've joked before that I was hoping someday I'd meet a 50-year-old dentist. When I met Gideon, he was 24 years old, not a 24-year-old ginger Aries who was a radical and so out there. That would have never crossed my mind. And yet, of course, he's so perfect for me. But not what I myself would have chosen in the moment before I met him. Does that make sense? So think about things in your life from your past where you were going towards something but surrendered to what was brought to you, and it ended up being really beautiful. That's the dance. That's the paradox here. I really believe that life wants us to have what we desire, our heart's desire. We wouldn't have that desire otherwise. But how it happens. Yes, we can have a default setting for that, right? Like, well, okay, I kind of like joke that I'm like, okay, God, unless you tell me otherwise, I'm gonna go this direction. I'm going. And then if it works out and I keep going, then I assume that's what God also wants for me. But if it doesn't, and I keep hitting a brick wall over and over and over again, I get real humble and real prayerful and quiet. Okay, then what is for me? There's something very humbling about this process. There's something that is continually showing me that we're not in charge, that we're accountable, and that we're sovereign beings, that we can definitely influence our own lives and those around us, but we don't hold all the cards. And although that can be scary at times, there's also something very comforting about that. I have a strong feeling that what life wants for us is so, so much better than we would give ourselves. So who's willing to do this with me? Who's willing to step more into this experiment? And that reminds me, there's a book that I want to recommend. Highly recommend. I'm reading it for the 3rd time right now. And it's called The Surrender Experiment by Michael Singer. He is also the author of The Untethered Soul, which is one of my top 5 books. Top 5 books, Michael Singer, he goes by Mickey Singer, has 2 of those. But the Surrender Experiment is specifically about this. It's about what we're speaking to. And it's his life story. I cannot recommend it more highly. reading it right now for the third time and getting so much more out of it than I did the first time I read it. I think that was maybe 5 or 6 years ago. But where my life is right now, it's perfect. And I have a feeling it would be perfect for many of you. But that's the whole premise of the book, is yes, he's living his life. And yes, he feels this very strong draw towards certain things. But he continues to follow what shows up in his path over and over and over and experience miracle after miracle. So again, there's no super tangible answer like do this exact formula. But I don't know that that's a real thing here. So this is my part of the conversation, you guys. I want to hear your part of the conversation. What would you say? What has been your experience with going towards your dreams, but also letting go and letting God? I would love to hear from you. I think this is such a beautiful subject and just a wonderful thing to explore. May your coffee be strong and your life be blessed. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please like and subscribe. It really helps out my channel. And if you would be interested in working with me further, you can check out DawniAngel.com. I would love to come speak to your group, come to your business to do a training, be on your podcast, my personal favorite, or even work with you one-on-one.